The Lunar and Planetary Science Conference has been held in Houston, Texas for the last 47 years, and it's a place where planetary scientists of all stripes, people who study the results from the latest spacecraft missions, older data with telescopes, some of the scientists study meteors and meteorites, and they all come together to compare their results, share their results, find out the latest going on. So it's a great sharing session with probably about 1,700 people from around the world, really. It even includes people from China now, and India, because they have rather robust programs, and we all get to share our results. So it's a really special time. Of course, New Horizons flew by Pluto last summer, and I was the co-author on a talk and presentation primarily regarding the smaller moons of Pluto. Pluto has one really big moon called Charon, which is so big that some people consider Pluto a double planet, and then it has several smaller moons. And New Horizons got a look at those too, and we're trying to figure out where their poles are, how they spin. Some spin really rapidly, some spin slowly. They were a lot brighter than they were expected, which means there's some kind of coating on their surface. We think maybe from the atmosphere of Pluto. So we're trying to figure out that, and so I was primarily involved in studying those smaller moons and what their role is in the system. There's also the question of how they got there. Pluto is very small, and so how it's managed to keep all these things in its orbit for so long, or perhaps they haven't been there very long. Lots of questions and lots of interesting stuff that we'll be continuing to work on for years. You might notice that the patch on my shirt has 9 sides. Pluto, planet 9, as well as 9 years to get to Pluto. So you might see a lot of pictures with both our scientists, our principal investigator, Alan Stern, and lots of other people with 9 fingers up. And that's because 9 years to Pluto, planet 9. 9 was a big theme with the mission. I also, while I was there, presented on the asteroid Annefrank. It was encountered by NASA's Stardust spacecraft, which was the first sample return mission to a comet. It flew by this little asteroid on the way and sent back some very limited imagery, about 38 pixels, little picture elements across. And so what I did was I worked with the data and tried to use multiple images to get as much as I could out of it. What I found with my co-author, Phil Stryk from Western Ontario University, was that there are some grooved features that are probably due to impacts it has received over the years, indicate that it's actually a solid object and not several objects that have come into contact with each other, the way the grooves are visible throughout Annefrank. And these features also seem to be common on such worlds. When I was in 4th grade, I was doing what I did best, which was not paying any attention and paging through my science book. And I came across what was a very garish picture of the planet Saturn. And I thought nothing could possibly be that ugly. I was right. It was a horrible early 80s attempt at false color. And in doing so, I actually got a little telescope out and spotted Saturn myself and saw that the color was very beautiful yellow with kind of brownish rings and very beautiful. And that's what first got me interested. And as far as working with New Horizons, the first thing that I really space event that I really remember was in 1989, the Voyager encounter with the planet Neptune, which was the first exploration of Neptune. And there was a program on PBS called Neptune All Night, where it was showing all the results live. And the program, as it was getting right into the closest approach, my mother came and told me it was time to go to bed. And I was like, but we're exploring, a new planet. And she said, well, you'll thank me for this someday. And so what I said to her was, that's fine, but I'll be there next time. And by next time, I meant Pluto. It was the only other planet out there that hadn't been explored. And sure enough, I was there next time. So that was kind of a neat aspect of this whole thing for me.